If I were invisible, I would play Paranormal Activity with my friends without telling them.
If I were invisible, I'd probably blast music in the hallways and just start dancing, and that's the way no one can see you nor judge me.
I would pants everybody.
I would watch people when they're all alone.
If I was invisible, I would use my mom's toothbrush to clean my dog's teeth.
If I were invisible, I would like to be in the White House, in the West Wing, and see what's going on.
If I could be invisible, I would mess with the paranormal investigating people.
You can see me? If I was invisible, I would drive around all day going to fast food places and go to their drive-thrus. And people would be like, yo, who's driving the car?
If I was invisible, I would travel all over the world.
If I was invisible, I'd regret it and wish I could fly.
If I were invisible, I would play hide and go seek all the time.
If I were invisible, I would probably sneak into a lot of concerts and mess with people, probably rob a bank or two.
If I were invisible, I mean, like, can I just turn invisible, or like, am I invisible forever? Like, what? Well, I don't get it.
I would run around naked and steal money.
If I was invisible, I would go on Justin Bieber's tour bus and watch him while he sleeps, because he's beautiful.
If I was invisible, I would tap on people's shoulders, and then when they turned around, nobody would be there.
If I was invisible, I'd go into the women's locker room.
Is my hair invisible too? Like, do I have to shave, or can I grow my hair out? Come on.
If I were invisible, I'd watch people like Grendel, my favorite character.
Less.
I just said what you said. No,
Less.
Now, if I was invisible, here's what I would do. First thing I would do is, I would go up to every girl, give them nice, beautiful kisses.
If I were invisible, I would find Channing Tatum.
If I were invisible,
I think we both know what I would do if I were invisible.
What would that be?
If I was invisible, I would pants anybody I disliked.
If I eat food, is it gonna just stay there, or is the food gonna be invisible? Like, I need some rules here.
If I was invisible, I would go to a delicious, fancy restaurant, and I would eat off everyone's plate before they got a chance to bite it.
If I were to be invisible, I would pull a massive amount of things.
If I was invisible, I would scare people all day long.
If I was invisible, I would rob so many banks and get away with it.
matter of fact, walk up to a girl with flowers and balloons, giving them anything they wanted.
I would mess around with people I don't like. I'd steal stuff.
Alright, if I was invisible for a month, first thing I would do is I'd rob Bank of America, get that money they stole from all those people during the recession.
It's the same thing every day.
I would go to ShopRite and eat all the muffins. That's a good one.
If I were invisible, I would go to football games and like when the ball's in the air, I would just knock it down and be like, not today, Tom Brady.
If I was invisible, I wouldn't answer your question.
If I was invisible, I would run around with Benji and start pooping at people. If I was invisible, I would scare people all over the world.
If I was invisible, I would probably just play pranks on everybody.
If I were invisible, I would go surfing, so that when people would see the surfboard in the water, they'd be like, what is going on?
If I was invisible, I'd play practical jokes on everybody all day long.
Are my clothes invisible too? Like, am I gonna have to run around naked? What if I get cold, you know? Like, what if it's winter time? I don't want to be cold.
If I were invisible, I would do a lot of illegal things, like steal stuff and pull pranks to freak people out and do things I normally wouldn't because no one could see me.
Then what I would do is, because I'm invisible, I'll get into the White House, right?
That was not.
I know, sorry. I'll be in the White House, and every time Barack goes to sleep, I'll pretend to be God and ask him questions like
That's not mine.
You know what I'm saying? Get all his secrets, right? Because it's gonna take about 2 weeks to record. He's gonna tell me all his secrets, and then I'm doing that same thing to Ben Bernanke, get his secrets, and Warren Buffett, get his bank codes. Living for good. Alright? Oh, and I'm assassinate the king of Saudi Arabia and take over everything.
You got a king?
Damn, Victor.
Mine's just simple. I'm just robbing banks.
It's a simple question.
Also, next, I would strip myself so nobody would see me, have clothes on and everything. Bam. Y'all know how it is. Swag boy, roger that.